Okay, so we went through like about half of Revelation chapter 12 last week. We saw the 7 trumpets of Revelation. Well, that was preview from previous for that. So a woman and a dragon. The woman was called a great sign in heaven, and the dragon was just called another sign in heaven, appeared in heaven. So we talked about what that great sign was, and the other sign is this dragon, an enormous, terrible red dragon, 7 heads, 7 royal crowns, where the woman has a victor's crown. Everyone in Christ in Revelation has a victor's crown. The evil entities we see tend to have royal crowns. The idea there is that they are using corrupt government to do their dirty work. Thank you. So this appears in heaven. So this is a spiritual battle. It's covering the entire history of time. There's always been a struggle between God's people and evil. I mean, you go all the way back to the beginning. In my sermons on this past year, we've gone through and looked at a lot of them. From the very beginning, how Satan attacked Adam and Eve, how Satan attacked, Cain followed Satan's desires, and so forth throughout history. Just Satan's attacks on God's people over and over again. So this is not something that's just in the future. It's been that way forever. So the woman was about to give birth, and the dragon was waiting. Rather than attacking the woman, he was waiting for the child to be born. And we discussed why he didn't attack the woman. Apparently, she was protected by God, and she represents 2 things: Mary, who gave birth to Jesus, and she represents God's people who give birth to God's people. So he can't attack the woman. She's protected by God. She's too much for him to attack at one time. But he's waiting for the baby to be born, and the baby is born, and he can't get the baby. The baby's snatched up to heaven. And we talked about how that is a very clear picture of Jesus being born on earth to Mary, and Satan thinks he's won at the cross, but Jesus is resurrected, and he's snatched up to heaven. He ascends to heaven. So that should be an end. And then in verses 7 through 9, we looked at Michael's war on the dragon, and that's where we find out the dragon is called Satan. So that's why we know the dragon is representing Satan, because Revelation tells us, there's nothing to be confused about there. Revelation tells us exactly what this dragon means. So what in the battle's result was that Satan lost his place in heaven. He was hurled down to earth with all his angels. I mean, he just didn't fall to earth. He was hurled to earth. So Michael emphatically won that war. Remember that Michael means who is like God. He is questioning who is like God. Not he's questioning that. He's answering that question more than questioning it. He's describing who is like God. Jesus. So just like the stars up the sky, the Satan and his angels fall from the sky. He is no longer able to slander God's people to God's face, but that doesn't keep him from continuing his adversarial, slanderous shenanigans, his deceptive ways. He goes about to lead the whole world astray, His destruction is his one purpose and intent. He has no other, doesn't know how to do anything else other than destroy. That's all he knows. So why would I give my desires and time of day to his heart, to things of his heart? Things, all he wants is destruction. So why would I allow myself to be pulled astray by him? All he wants is to destroy me. His temptations are not something that are beneficial for me, to give me pleasure. That's what they seem like, but they are there to destroy me. So why would I listen to his temptations, his slander, his deceit? After all, who has he defeated? He couldn't defeat a pregnant woman. He couldn't defeat a baby. He couldn't defeat Jesus' messenger boy, God's messenger boy, Michael. Who has he defeated? Okay, so let's read verses 10 through 12 of chapter 12. And I heard a loud voice, of course, in heaven. Everything's a loud voice, saying, "Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before God. And they have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, for they loved not their lives even unto death. Therefore, rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them, but woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short." So God's victory, we saw God's victory here and Satan's response. 4 things have come: the salvation of our God, the power of our God, the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Messiah. How could salvation have come when Satan is running free on earth to deceive people? He was kicked out of heaven, he's down on earth, and he is running rampant. We surely see that, right? Satan is running rampant. People are giving in to him left, right, and center. But he is no longer able to go to God and slander us to God's face. Who's left in heaven before God? Christ. And what does he do? He intercedes. He's saying, that's my son, that's my daughter, that's my church, that's my brother, that's my sister, that's my bride. We don't have anybody up there saying, "Oh, look at that, look at that. Look at the mistake he just made. How stupid is he?" You know? Right. But he's on earth, right? And so he still can slander us to us. He's done that many times, told me how much of an idiot I was, how bad I was, and Deron, you just can't do anything right. How many times have I heard Satan say that in the form of my voice?
They overcame their testimony. They did not love their wife. Well, those pronouns, as far as I can tell, always go back to verse 7, which is Michael's advantage. If that's correct, which I believe it is, no other they in there, either the one or conquer. If they didn't love their wife even unto death, that means the angels can die. I've never thought about that.
Well,
They fought unto death, and they didn't worry about whether they got killed or not. So that means angels can die. didn't throw that out for an answer. But it just
Well,
something unusual.
I'm just trying to see, because I always took it that the they was the woman and the dragon and her children.
But the last
So,
thing before that
yeah, I know what you're
was
saying.
Michael and his angels,
So,
verse 7.
I'm going to have to,
And they're the ones that conquered and threw. Michael's the one that threw him out of heaven.
yeah, I'm going to have to go
And
to,
they fought this war. So I think it's the angels. I believe the angels died.
I'm going to look at that closer. Not just yet. I'm gonna have to look at that and see what I'm missing there. We're gonna go on for now, and right, yeah. But we're gonna go. Well, I would say we're gonna go for now, assuming that the they are the followers of God, because that's what I always took it as. So I'm until further notice. I mean, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. I don't have a problem with this question. I welcome these questions. well, and I appreciate that. I'm just saying I appreciate that because, yeah, I saw that. Now, yes. Right. Yes, but I want to go through that and look at his question and see and carefully. So yeah, I agree. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
So how about maybe the salvation, the power, and the kingdom of our God and the authority of Christ? People who love not their lives even unto death is people in the kingdom of God.
Yeah. Okay. So they overcame him, right? How did they overcome him? What were their tools to overcome Satan? The blood of the Lamb, the word of their testimony, and they didn't mind being, well, they probably would have appreciated it if they weren't, but they right, even unto death, yes. Right, yes. So I mean, but I don't want to just give a question that I hadn't thought of before. Blow it. I don't want to blow it off. Is what I'm saying. So I still think they is talking about Christians. Yeah, the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down. So that's they. Yeah, there you go. There's the even closer reference. The accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them, our brothers, night and day before our God, and they have conquered him by the. Thank you, Peggy. There's the answer. Middle of verse 10, it says, well, salvation has come, and the kingdom and power and authority of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them, our brothers, night and day before God, and they, our brothers, have conquered him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of testimony. There we go. That's why we have these things. that's I love it. That's why we have class.
I guess if you find tune it, but not angels in general, but it's Satan's angels.
Right. Yes. Yeah, there's going to get judgment, and okay, sure. Yeah. That was my next question. So, when did this happen? When did this happen? When did Satan and his angels fall to earth? When was that war in heaven?
He's always been here, it's just now after this, he had no access to heaven. He had access to heaven and earth.
Because he says that he walked on the earth and then God said, I've thought
Well,
about Job.
I don't necessarily agree with that interpretation of Job. So,
This may deal with the now and the not yet. I think that basically Satan was defeated by the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ.
mhm.
That's the consummation. It's not that's the inauguration, excuse me, not the consummation.
Right.
So
Yeah.
There's still a fight.
Yeah. Very difficult question. I don't know that I can give you a definitive answer. I think that Satan no longer has access to heaven because of Jesus' death. Because of Jesus' death, resurrection. Yes, I believe that 33-year or whatever event was Satan's expulsion from heaven. Am I going to die on that sword? No. It seems logical, though. And then when Jesus returns, finally, death will be swallowed up in victory. Satan will get his final comeuppance and no longer be, have access to anybody who's a Christian.
Well, it makes sense that when he was resurrected and went back to heaven, Satan wouldn't be allowed to be there at the same time.
Yeah,
It makes a lot of sense that that's when he was
expelled. That's my take on it. But again, yes, when did this happen? Yes, that's where I would take it. The tribulation thing is the premillennials view. So I'm not premillennials, if you haven't figured that out. Okay, so, and of course, then didn't God always have power? And yet we're told the power of God has come. Hasn't he always been king? But now we're told that he's king. Hasn't he always been able to save? Yes. But now these things have been revealed powerfully to the world, and I think Jesus' 33 years, that time period was the expulsion of Satan from heaven, and then Jesus resurrected, and he's there now. Without Satan trying to dissuade from say, hey, that's my daughter, that's my son, that's my brother, my sister. He's right, like he did with Job. He can't do that. So that's my take on it. Okay, so Satan has been our accuser, but now he's been cast down out of God's presence. Only our mediator remains. He has our salvation, not our demise at heart. Jesus stands before the Father. There is woe on earth. Satan still has some freedom to roam. He still can slander and accuse me to my earthly self. He is still my adversary. How we defeat Satan? 3 unusual weapons: the blood of the Lamb, the word of our testimony, the love of Christ over the love of life. That's how we defeat Satan. 3 weapons. Satan is defeated. Command is to rejoice. But who rejoices? The heavens and those who dwell in them. And as I've been saying, that's us. Christians reside in heaven spiritually, even while living on earth physically. My residence is in heaven. I'm a temporary wanderer here on earth. So who has woe? The inhabitants of the earth. Non-Christians. The people whose home is earth. So that's how I take that. So, I'm sorry? Well, we still have to deal with Satan, yes. But we have the hope of heaven to overcome that. And this goes back to Jesus' statement. In this earth, you will have trouble. But take heart. I have overcome the world. So we have the ability to take heart because our brother has overcome the world. Our Savior. Right. So we hold out hope to them that they too can share in the rejoicing of having their sins washed away in the blood of the Lamb, putting their hope in Christ, and thus having a mediator standing before the face of God on their behalf. Who wouldn't want Jesus standing before God saying about you, this is my brother. He has no sins because I washed them away in my blood. Give him your protection and favor. That's what we're reading here in Revelation. We've got Jesus there in our favor. Who wouldn't want that? He's our advocate. Why not?
Jesus is not advocating
Yeah, he's advocating for us. No. The accuser is Satan. He's been cast down. But Peggy's question was, why would he be advocating for us if there's no accuser there? Yeah.
It's symbolic. But I guess one of the things I see, the death and the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ is Satan. And he's here. And he has great wrath. Maybe, he was Satan before, but now he's ticked off. And who is he ticked off at? He's ticked off of those who Christ has saved.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like, oh, now I'm Christian, so it's going to leave. It looks like it's God.
Yep.
Not like it's once saved, always saved.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Picking up on what Bill said, a lot of commentators refer to it as frustrated anger.
Yeah.
Frustrated anger.
Right. Yep. Okay. Well, we are going to get done with chapter 12 today. I promise.
We're going to get done with 13 today.
Well, no, I said we're hoping to get into 13, but that's obviously not going to happen. Okay. Well, let's read verse 13 through the end of the chapter. And when the dragon, Satan, no, we're allowed to talk about it, saw that he had been thrown down to the earth, he pursued the woman who had given birth and to the male child. But the woman was given the two wings of the great eagle that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness to the place where she is to be nourished for a time and times and half a time. The serpent poured water like a river out of his mouth after the woman to sweep her away with a flood. But the earth came to help the woman, to the help of the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon had poured from his mouth. Then the dragon became furious with the woman and went off to make war on the rest of her offspring, on those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimony of Jesus. And he stood on the sand of the sea. Okay, so Satan's attack continues. He's not done attacking us just because he's been cast out of heaven. In fact, he's got frustrated anger. And that's I know I've had frustrated anger, probably not anywhere near Satan's level. But Satan's attack continues. Satan's filled with fury on the earth because he knows his time is short. We saw in verse 6 that the woman fled to the wilderness where she would be cared for 1,260 days. And this is a place prepared for her by God. Now we see in verse 14, she was given to wings like a great eagle, enabled her to fly to her prepared place. And then here we see the time frame again, 1,260 days, which works out to be 3.5 years, a time times half a time, 3.5 years. The point again, this is a short, undefined duration. And she's given eagle's wings. What does that make you think of? Well, there have been certain people who have written very much that. Eagle's wings. Well, let me read to you Exodus 19, verse 4. You yourselves, speaking to the Israelites, have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. God says that he carried the Israelites out of Egypt on eagle's wings. Miracles, right. If you were one of them, did you feel like it was on eagle's wings? Because if you're looking at the situations going on around you, no. That's what God's view of it is. So this event that we're talking about here in Revelation 12 is a picture of the Exodus. Satan, through Pharaoh, drowns all the Hebrew babies in the Nile River. Moses, the male child, is spared. Satan tries to destroy him when he was 40 years old. He continued to attack the Israelites through Egypt. Finally, God gave them wings to fly away through the 10 plagues. The Red Sea, the mountains, and the Egyptians have them hemmed in. Figuratively, Satan spewed water like a river to overtake Israel, the woman. God calls a dry path for Israel to take to safety the wilderness. The earth helped by swallowing up the water. God nourished and protected Israel for 40 years in the wilderness, in his prepared place. Satan has been unable to defeat the pregnant woman, to devour her male child, to attack in the wilderness, so he goes off to make war on who? The rest of God's children, which includes us. The ones who do what? Keep God's commands. So obedience is kind of necessary for salvation, is it not? Trust and obey, yes. Keep God's commands. Hold fast the testimony about Jesus. The testimony about Jesus. He died. He is God. He died for my sins. He was buried. He rose from the grave 3 days later. Showed himself to many people that he was alive. Ascended into heaven. My sins are washed by his blood. I was buried with him through baptism into the grave, and I was raised to new life as I came out of the water, just like his burial and resurrection. I have the hope of ascending to heaven just like he did. Awesome stuff. Hold fast the testimony about Jesus. Jesus saved me and gave me eternal life as a hope. It seems.
Gary, do you comment in your? I haven't read all your material. You comment about Isaiah 40:31, the wings of an eagle.
I didn't write here. I don't know if I did anywhere, but yeah, it's good reference as well. Isaiah 40. Yeah, I don't remember if I did or not. So it seems the woman represents spiritual Israel, whom Satan cannot collectively defeat. So he goes off to war against individuals he can separate from the collective. Satan's only chance is to get us alone. We must not miss the point that whether the righteous live or die, they are exempt from judgment. But we also must not miss the point that we must be in the church. We must be together, building each other up, strengthening each other, not tearing each other down, loving each other, supporting each other, helping us get through this life and the temptations that Satan puts our way, the things he tries to do to trip us. We've got to stay together. That's right. The church is the ark, and you've got to be in the ark. Well put. Okay, so we're not going to get much into chapter 4. Okay, yes. That's right.
First one and kind of explain the rest of the whole chapter.
Okay,
Just kidding, but,
Right.
I was writing notes of this, your explanation for time, end time, and half.
okay. Well, that's the same period of time as 1,260 days, 3.5 years, which we see those three references to time over and over again.
Is what? Time is-
Times, and a half a time. So if a time is a year, times is 2 years, and half a time is a half a year, 3.5 years.
So the total.
The total is 3.5 years. Right.
Time is a year.
So 1,260 days is 3.5 years. 42. Oh, we also have 42 months. So a fourth reference, 42 months. You'll see that in here too. And they all are the same period. If you
Is that coincidental that it's
no,
Jesus' ministry is 3.5 years?
and his burial was 3 days. 3 is 3.5. Yeah, that's significant. We see that over and over again. I don't put a lot of emphasis on the time, the actual time frame, because I think numbers in Revelation are symbolic. When it says 42 months, all these references to basically 3.5 years, it's talking about a short time, not necessarily exactly 3.5 years.
And maybe that meant something significant for God's time.
Well, we obviously see that.
He's still God.
Yes.
Maybe that's the latest persecution for people who write whose experience.
Yeah. And 3 years is, 3 is a significant number in Revelation, 3 representing the Godhead. So there's, and 3.5 is half of 7. So yeah, so there's a lot there. And I know that the premillennials hang on that. Their doctrine is so tied into that being exact number. Anyway, so what we're going to look at next week is in chapter 13. We're going to say 12 is done, and we're going to chapter 13. Well, I'm gonna go look at Peggy's and Bill and Bob's questions more deeply, but so we're gonna go to chapter 9. Yeah, I haven't listed this chapters next week, and look at the 2 beasts. So the dragon couldn't defeat a pregnant lady, couldn't defeat an infant baby, couldn't defeat God's messenger angel. So what does he do? He gets reinforcements. If I'm a military person, I keep losing my battles. I need reinforcements. So we're going to see what his reinforcements are next week.